Welcome as we continue our study of Colossians in chapter 3, verse 5. And put to death your members which are on the earth: fornication, uncleanness, passion, evil lust, and covetousness, which is idolatry. So keep in mind, it's been discussing us being raised with Christ, being reborn with Christ, into being renewed spiritually, as well as being born into a new body and revealed with Him at the second coming. And so this is therefore what you should do because of that. Putting to death the members. So putting to death is from nekru, which we've seen before, which just means to put to death. Members is milos, which can be it's a member, a limb, or part of something. Um, it, it's not necessarily a good thing or a bad thing by itself. So what it's talking about here, it's not telling you to cut off your arms and legs. What it's saying is that because you are reborn into a new body, you're renewed spiritually, that you need to put to death all of those old deeds, those old sinful deeds. And then it gives a list of what those things are. So the first one is fornication, which comes from the word porneia, which is where we get the word for porn or pornography. And really, that's any form of sex outside of that between a man and a woman. And I should say specifically a husband and a wife. Then uncleanness is akarthesia, and that comes from a without, and cartheria, which is to cleanse. So without being cleansed, or sorry, catharu, yeah, catharu. So we're going to go with that. Sorry, my pronunciation is terrible and worse today than normal. But again, without being cleansed. So passion is from pathos, and pathos is just a general word for passion. It can really include any kind of emotion, but really it's more talking about being led by those emotions. And so keep in mind that the word warns often of being led by emotions, tells us to be rational, to be sober minded, which is another way of saying rational. Um, and that it warns that those who are led by their emotions, they're like waves in the wind. Whenever the wind changes direction, so do they. So it's not saying you can't have passions or things that you're excited about, but to not be led by them, to always have mental control over your actions and your responses. Uh, Evil lust is from kakon, which is evil, and an epithumia. And epithumia is epi and thumia, or thumos. And epi is an intensifier here. It does mean upon. And thumos is sort of it's typically used for wrath, sort of this fierceness, this indignation. And so I guess you could say wrath upon, maybe might be a way of saying it. This is someone who's just always angry, kind of always, punching at somebody, be it verbally or physically. Someone who doesn't have any joy, they're always angry. And then our next word for covetousness is pleonexia, which is from pleon, which means more, and echo, which means to hold. So it means you want to hold more. More than you never have enough. You always want more. And then it says basically that this is all idolatry. And so idolatry is idolatria, which is where we get the word idolatry. And it really just, so we typically think of it as worshiping false gods, which is true. But if you break the word down, it's eidolon, which means image, or an idol. It's the image of something. And then latria is worship. So it's worshiping an image. It goes further than worshiping things other. That's a bad way of saying it. It's worshiping anything other than God, and that includes an image of Him. So all of these things are different forms of idolatries, different forms of worshiping something other than God, and they all fall short.